exposure. I actually think a lot of people forget about the distribution part when you're making a film. And is that kind of made you go into this, or how did you initially want to get into it?
Everyone, a lot of people do forget that. They can be so caught up in the moment, like, making a movie, the excitement, the creative process, things are cool. But then actually in the end, it's like, we're not going to do any festivals and getting it out there in cinema release because that's expensive. But the good thing to do is to plan ahead early as possible. And I found the gap in the market was by working in film festivals. So I was working at a festival in Wales, called the Abertoir Horror Festival. I was distracted by my PhD at the time. It actually became my full-time career within film festivals. And there was a gap in the market, and there was actually no company offering this important, which you would say, knowledge and support that was missing. So I mean, PR companies obviously, they help to a degree with press, but they don't really focus on festivals and sales. And I thought, right, I want to help these people follow their dreams and not give up and support them. But people were on the edge of like giving up. They were like, there's nobody here and don't want to do with it, just check it out, hope for the best, see what happens. You made it, so that's all I wanted. It was a little bit vague and ambiguous. I thought, right, let's get
And I am a project officer at the Center for Creative Arts, and it is our pleasure to bring this session, this webinar right now with Dr. Rebekah, and she'll be telling us more about how to get your film noticed and how to increase your audiences and how to how to kind of look at festivals and how to have your film picked up by festivals. I would like to welcome everyone, of course, to the session, and we're very excited to have Dr. Rebekah with us. But before I hand over to her, we do have some housekeeping rules. For example, if you need to speak, please write your questions on the chat box. And if you're not speaking, please mute your microphone. Also, we would also like to thank our audiences, our sponsors, and all our supporters for everything you've done for us right now. Without you, there would not be this program. So thank you very much to everyone. Just before I hand over to Dr. Rebekah to do her thing, let me tell you a little bit more about her. So she's an award-winning consultant and media personality with over 10 years of film festival strategy consulting experience. So after choosing not to pursue a career in academia, Rebekah began her film industry career in 2009, working as one of the producers of the Wales' most successful national horror film festival, the Abertoir Horror Festival, which is part of the prestigious European Fantastic Film Festival Federation. Rebekah and the hard-working team behind her company, the Film Festival Doctor, are creators of success and are committed to nurturing filmmakers in order to help them secure an abundance of film festival screenings, win awards, and positive recognition within the film industry. Currently, her company have over 800 awards for their clients, secured 1 Oscar nomination and several BAFTA long-listed short films. Rebekah and her team have supported over 848 creatives across the world, enlightening and inspiring the journey towards achieving their goals and following their filmmaking dreams. So obviously, I think whether you're a emerging filmmaker or you've got quite a few titles under your belt already, I feel like she's a person to talk to. And yeah, let me hand over to her and welcome, Dr. Rebekah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that lovely intro. I'm really nice to be here. I'm a big fan of this festival. I've been coming to the Durban Film Festival for a couple of years, and I'm really excited to be here today. I can't wait to share some little insights and secrets with you all. So we have a PowerPoint. So we'll start now sharing the PowerPoint screen. So let me just get this now into slideshow mode, and then we can start from the beginning. Here we go. There we go. So that's me. So that's my company. That's my email. So by all means, please reach out to me with any questions. And today we're going to be focusing upon the toolbox that I'm going to be giving you to how to create a very successful film festival strategy. So we just had the lovely intro, so you know who I am. And that's my company, the Film Festival Doctor. That's the website. Now today you've got a free gift. So I'm going to be going through the key things via my checklist. And I have in my shop a free copy, it's all free, of this checklist that I'll be going through, which will be giving you the toolbox to give you the right information to help you create a successful film festival strategy for your film. There's other products on there too, and I offer other services, but as a freebie, if you go to my shop page, and I'll give you the link at the end on the on the Zoom chat, you can go to it directly, but click on the shop and you'll get your free gift. And we'll go through it today, but it's really worth having in your handbag or in your office just to make sure that you're not going to be going off piste and not on the right path. So the goal today is to give you these tools to create the strategy so that you don't feel overwhelmed, and it solves your problems by knowing exactly what you need to do next before you start submitting to festivals. So the focus is, first of all, we'll go through why they're important, why film festivals are important. Then we'll talk about that magical toolbox I mentioned, how to prepare your strategy. So why are festivals important? A lot of people say to me, well, why should I submit the film to festivals? I made it, so should I do festivals? What's the point of them? Now, here's the point. Durban's a great festival, so obviously you're all having a good time. But what they are, first and foremost, is they're really good platforms, exhibition platforms, to raise awareness of short film director's vision. Also a feature too, but in a different way. But they're there, as a calling card to show what kind of work you can do, how good you are at what you do. Writer, director, actor, producer, the whole lot. Obviously winning awards and getting recognition at the best festivals really helps get the right exposure. So they really do help you rise above the surface. They're also really good platforms, film directors to receive, and the whole production team, theatrical screenings for their film. Now, obviously, in the world of independent cinema, it's very difficult to get a small budget indie gem, short and feature, documentary, whatever it is, in a theatre, in a cinema, because it's very expensive. You see the big movies get that, but it's difficult with independent films. So film festivals are like an alternative distribution network, so you don't have to spend as much money on doing a release theatrically in your hometown or abroad. So they give you a very good edge to get the film seen in countries you might never have thought of. They're also great platforms to discover independent, high-end, amazing gems, both features and shorts. Film festivals are discovery platforms. People there discover new talent they want to work with. Sales agents discover films they want to sell they never, ever heard of. So they're all about discovering this talent that's in the minute hidden, and festivals give you that big ta-da moment to get you and your film seen. What they can also do is help you get PR. So if you have, I'm going to talk about this tomorrow, if you get a publicist on board and you want to get, more press and visibility for the film, that's great. And festivals act as that platform to springboard more press. So your publicist might say, I need to have a good festival as a hook to get the press for you. You say, well, I've got Durban Film Festival world premiere for my short. She's like, great, I can then put in the press Oscar qualifying festival, one of the biggest in South Africa, in the press release, and that gets more people interested that want to see it. And you might be people there that could be good journalists as well to get more press. So they have that aspect as well. Now, this is more for feature films and short films, but a lot of films can get picked up by a sales agent at a film festival. It's not maybe as common nowadays, like it would be many, many, many years ago. But what festivals can do now is initiate that conversation people to get interested in potentially picking up a feature film for a sales agent to represent. So that's what that means. So going to get picked up, it means acquired acquisition, to sell the film. As I say, it's not a case of when they see the film, we're going to sell it, right, here's the contract. It takes a bit of negotiation and time, but festivals are that little stepping stone towards potentially getting the right sales agent to sell your film. What you can also do is more PR at festivals is take part in post-screening Q&As introductions. I recommend that you do this both online and in person. They work, but definitely really promote your film when you're taking part at a film festival, and really, get engaged and take part in a Q&A, do intros, do whatever you can, take part in workshops if you get asked. But they give you a very good opportunity to get visibility and to really speak about your film and present yourself and your brand. What they also do, and all festivals pretty much have this, is awards. We all love awards. They're always great. Any type of award is great for your film at a live festival. But what some festivals who are Oscar qualifying is they obviously have awards that can help you submit your film to the Oscars for consideration. So, for example, one of my short films, Shock, which I consulted on in the development phase, they then went on to make the film to win the Holly Shorts Best of Fest Grand Prix Award. That was an Oscar qualifying award, submitted to the Oscars, and it got nominated. Not as simple as it sounds, but that was the journey, and that was thanks to the Holly Shorts Film Festival. And the film that I didn't work on, but I know the people, which was The Silent Child, that won an Oscar a few years ago, I think it was 2019, that won the Flickers Rhode Island Best of Fest. They submitted to the Oscars, got nominated, and they won. So they're very important festivals for winning those tough, important awards to get to those big competitions. And also having BAFTA qualifying festivals in the UK can help you get submitted to BAFTA, and also BIFA, the British Independent Film Awards, and you've got SAFTA here. So festivals will play a big role in getting those nominations. Also, networking, obviously. I mean, all festivals have great networking if they're what we call a filmmakers festival. So if lots of filmmakers attend, it's not, say, predominantly the general local audience, you're going to have good networking, to be like-minded people and lots of people you could collaborate with potentially. When I say beneficial festivals, what I mean by that is some festivals are predominantly for the locals and there's less filmmakers. But there are festivals that are more for, like this one, industry, lots of filmmakers attend. So that's great networking. Now, short films have got a really good life on the festival circuit. They can travel for up to 18 months or more. I've got a film that's done 2 years because there's more flexibility with the longer expiry date, shall we say. You haven't got to have a film on the circuit for like a few months. They can travel for a long time. But with features, it tends to be shorter because if you want to get a sales agent, you want to sell it, you need to get the return on investment, you need to get it sold. You wouldn't be able to do the festival circuit for 2 years because the sales agent would need to sell it, soon, and they would take over. It would not all take over, but, it wouldn't be as long a life, as short film might. Short films can do hundreds of festivals, and features could if they don't want a sales agent. But it's important that if you want to get a sales agent, that that you do your festivals first. That will help get that right kind of agent attached and distribution companies to buy it. It wouldn't be as long a life. So that's only if you want to get a sales agent. If you don't want to get a sales agent, and then you can travel as long as you like. But that's the kind of differences. So that's why these festivals are great. They give you opportunities for getting yourself noticed, telling your story during a Q&A, PR, sales, awareness, and most of all, rising above the surface and getting visibility. Okay, so that's festivals. Next, we have the fantastic checklist I mentioned. So on my shop, this is all for you. You can get this for free for your own copy. You can print it out like I've got here. There you go. Put it in your handbag. Put it in your office. But this is what I created, and this has been something in the pipeline for a very long time because I had a lot of filmmakers say the same questions to me, same problems, and some of them didn't know where to start. So this is how you use this spreadsheet. This checklist. So you start here and then work your way around in a circle. Now, this is the biggest mistake people tend to make. They say to me, right, the film's finished, so let's submit to Sundance. Well, hang on, step backwards. Have you got a film that film festivals want, and have you got a film that Sundance want? Before you do any submissions, before you start spending money and rushing around, pause, evaluate your film. The first thing to do is evaluate your film. And I advise you to get objective feedback on your film from someone like me, who is not attached to you or the film and works in the film festival industry and does this every single day, to give you that objective feedback on what kind of festivals would be most interested in the film and where best to start looking into. Don't ask mum and dad that say you win an Oscar. Don't ask husband and wife and girlfriend and boyfriend and children, because they'll say what you want to hear. It needs to be people that have nothing to do with you. Ask people as well who've traveled the festival circuit and have done well on the circuit for their feedback. Ask people who have experience in the festival industry. Ask producers that know that. But ask people who know that field. And just getting objective feedback from other people as well that might not have that much experience is good to give. Might give you some tips as to what could be missing or what could be some challenges. But really, step aside from the film, because now you've obviously been so immersed in it for probably years or even, whatever long it is. It's hard to look objectively than just, we can just do Sundance now, because it's very different how this all works. So first thing, get the feedback. If people say this is a really good commercial movie, it will do really well, you could sell it really well. That's not really for festivals. Festivals are not looking for by the numbers, predictable, straightforward commercial movies. What they want instead is films which have an edge. They take a risk. They're provocative. They have an aggressive, strong vision, doing something groundbreaking that's not really been done before. It's a fresh take on a cliche. All this kind of stuff to what festivals want. Look at the Durban program and see stuff there that wouldn't really see. It's taking a risk. That's really important. So that's the first thing. Get objective feedback before doing any submissions. And when you know what kind of film you've got, people will say, yes, it's got potential for, local festivals, or you could travel with it, or it could do really well at horror festivals. It's a really good horror festival. Not so much the bigger ones, but the smaller ones. Something like that, you'll know. We worked on a film that was, I'll give a good example. We work on a lot of films from South Africa. One of them was called The Tokolosh, that opened DIF in, 2018, I think it was. And that's a horror. And that's a really strong horror. And that did all the top tier genre film festivals. Sitges, the biggest horror festival in the world, it did that. It opened DIF. Because obviously it's a very strong local movie, how it's been made, and the story and the execution. It went over to South Korea and did the Bifan Film Festival. It's one of the biggest festivals in South Korea of horror and one of the most reputable. It did local festival here, South African Horror Festival. It did a festival where I began my career, the Avatar Festival. So we did loads. The story wasn't quite groundbreaking enough to really go into the more general festivals like Tribeca, South by, Southwest, Sundance, not that kind of level. It was, certainly good quality, but not what they would want. But especially the genre, just absolutely loved it. And it's a really strong piece of work. So when you stick to your niche, you can do really well. And that really helped the director. The film got a sales agent, did really well. Don't know how much it sold, but it had a lot of acclaim and it had all the amazing laurels. It had Fright Fest, one of the biggest festivals in the whole of Europe, the genre. So when you know your niches, it can really help. So really just get that objective feedback first. That's really crucial. It can save you money. Then you set your goals. So really think about what do I want to achieve on the festival circuit with my film? So unpack everything. Why I made the film. Is it for getting me more work? Therefore, my goal is networking. Is it to get a sales agent? I've got to sell it and get the money back to the investor. Is it just to win awards and help me on my career? So there's many, many things there to think about. So put that really specifically. What I really want to get at the festival circuit is winning awards to help my profile, meeting more filmmakers in my area to collaborate with, meeting more filmmakers abroad to work abroad. Really pin down what you want and then go back on your notes with your feedback if the film can achieve it. If you're saying, right, I want to launch it at Sundance, get the award there, it's the Oscars, and they're going like, well, no, it won't do that. Then you have a plan B. You can still get the best out of it, but it might not be that big top tier one that you want, but just be really realistic. And to be realistic, get the objective feedback. Then you plan your budgets, and that's plural, by the way. So when I say budgets, there's three. There's your film festival submission budget with submission fees and hiring me, hopefully. The second budget is your materials budget. That's getting a poster made, a trailer made, an EPK made, your electronic press kit. That won't be that much money. Maybe hiring a publicist and sales agent that we'll talk about. tomorrow. Also, as well, might come into that is an SRT file. That's your subtitles file for other countries. Get one of those made. A DCP, that's your digital cinema package to exhibit at a film festival. Maybe a Blu-ray. So these will all cost money. It's not going to be free. So put money aside for that too, and get good deals from local people. And the third budget is traveling budget. So right now, obviously, we're not like free reign all over the world, but we can travel to some parts of the world still. So it's important to put money aside if you want to travel with the film and you want to go outside your home territory of, say, South Africa. Then definitely put money aside, because not all festivals can cover the cost of travel and accommodation. And they haven't done that for a long time, not because of COVID, but because of just, well, that's how they've been working for a long time. And for sure, filmmakers, they can't really do it either. But they can give you discounts on hotels, etc. So really research the area. So it's not just put money aside for a flight and a hotel or an Airbnb. It's money aside for living there. So if you go to Tribeca Film Festival, obviously Tribeca costs a fortune, because it's New York and it's upstate. So it'll cost money to get around. Uber and Lyft are expensive. Food, drink, eating out, living there will be very different to living in, say, here or in Mexico. So it's very important that you put money aside that you can travel with and stay there for a long time. If you can get funding, then great. Then look into those options too. Look. Budget and your traveling budget. The other part then, after doing your budget, so by now you know what film you've got your goals really clear, really specific, and they're really realistic, because you've got the film that can get the best value out of those goals and help those goals be achieved. You've got your funds put aside in the piggy bank, and now it's preparation time. Okay, so before you submit, you have to prepare. And what that means is getting made those materials I mentioned in your materials budget. So get your trailer, poster made. That will be needed for when you submit to festivals. Get a DCP made as well. It's really, really important. And also get anything else you might need made. So get the best screenshots or stills ready. You need that on your Film Freeway page when you submit to festivals. Have a really good synopsis that is not like, paragraphs and pages long. Just like literally 2 strong paragraphs, if that. A director's statement, so your vision, why you made the film in the way that you did. And also a bio, again, to the point, not, I was born on this day, and then I became a filmmaker, just to the point, and a very good headshot. These key things are good to prepare right now. And you can prepare your Film Freeway account. So make sure that you do put on your Film Freeway page all those key things I mentioned, and make it really presentable, and make it really strong. And you do your research. So you can see now with the journey that we're going on here, to recap what we're doing, you have to first of all know your film. Have I got a film that festivals want? If I haven't, I'll go down the route of maybe getting it sold. That would be the best route. If I have, then we can get going. What kind of festivals is the key thing. It comes later. But just think first, have I got a film that's got legs? And you set your goals, what you want to achieve. You prepare your budgets, put money aside, or start raising extra funds if you need to do that. And you prepare your materials to get ready to then create your Film Freeway page. Now, there is more than one platform to submit your film to festivals. There's not just Film Freeway, but Film Freeway dominates the whole of the film festival world in terms of submitting to festivals. Used to be a platform called Without a Box, that's now finished, and Film Freeway pretty much took over, pretty much. It's a very good platform, I'll give you that. It is a wonderful platform. There are thousands of festivals on there. When I first started this company up in 2010, there was like 400. Now there's 8,000. So you have to really get through the chaff. There's not all great festivals on there. Some of them are not festivals. They're like award competitions, which I wouldn't advise. But some of them are like live physical festival events. They're all really good. And they do have on their page some very helpful tips as to which festivals to submit to in terms of the genres. There's nobody on Film Freeway like me saying, right, submit your film to these because you've got the right film for them. It's very general, it's very broad. There's no strategy. I do not advise that you research on Film Freeway to submit your film to festivals because it's not going to help you. We've got to do first with Film Freeway is just prepare the account, prepare your project page, and you can submit when you have the right plan. There are other platforms. You can go on Short Film Depot if you have a short film, which has a few festivals, a big one on there called Clermont-Ferrand. There used to be Film Festival Live. I think it's not going anymore. And also Fest Home, that has quite a few on there as well. But you'll find a lot of festivals tend to sometimes put their festival up on all 3 platforms, or the other ones that are there, the smaller ones, just to get visibility. Some just use Film Freeway. Really depends. But you'll find that a lot of submissions will need to be done on Film Freeway. Okay? So it's very important that you create your Film Freeway page, and it's really striking. There's other platforms I mentioned require similar materials. It's a little bit more of a different way of submitting, a little bit more complex here and there. It's not as straightforward. But if you need to use those platforms for certain festivals, then use them. But you'll find, as I say, Film Freeway has pretty much a lot of festivals on there, and all the ones that you need to submit to probably will be on Film Freeway. So prepare that page, make it look all tip-top, presentable, have all the stuff you need to give a festival, because it really helps having a really good synopsis, and it really helps having a really good director's statement and bio, the right kind of striking stills, and a poster. And I'll just pause for a moment and show you what I mean by that, by a really good Film Freeway page. I'll give you a very visual example. So let me just ping over to Film Freeway. Just bear with me 2 seconds and I will show you what I mean by that. So here's a project page for the horror. I'm on the typical horror today, aren't I? So let me just stop the share and let me just ping it back over to Film Freeway. So another horror, this is a short film, but if you can see down here, the whole page, this is what you do for a very good Film Freeway page. So you have the Vimeo link here. Make sure that you do put on the Vimeo link that you allow it to have embed options. So you can embed it onto the Film Freeway page. Got your password to copy and paste and watch it on Vimeo. That's crucial. There's the name of the film. You can upload the whole film, by the way, and just put it on there. It's fine. You have either or options. And here you can see you've got now a very interesting, striking poster people see when they look at it. And then you have a very succinct to the point synopsis. Festivals sometimes look at it and go, oh, that film might fit in the horror program. Oh, it might fit in the ghost program. Oh, it could fit in the German filmmakers program. They start thinking potentially where it could fit because they're thinking about how to program it if they really like it. Put your trailer in there and have some really, really, really good striking stills that really give a first impression. You've got 2 seconds to make a really good first impression. Look at that. So, interesting film here. Oh, it's going to be a scary movie. All the doors open, all these sort of things, like the colouring, blah, blah, blah. So, really striking stills and just make it all very succinct. Don't make it too long because it won't get read. Keep it to the point and really make that strong first impression like, oh, interesting. Right, let's give it a watch and we'll then start reviewing it. You only get like a very small time to really make a first impression. So make sure that you do it really well. The other platforms I mentioned have a similar thing, but maybe not quite as in depth. But again, this is where you're going to do a lot of submissions to really make sure this is tip-top. On your privacy page, make sure it just linked festivals only to get project visibility, no one else apart from just festivals. And also make sure that you just ask here, the festivals must ask you to download the film if they want to screen it. So you get asked for permission. That's the key things here, yeah. And don't bother about that because you don't need any marketing options. Just make a really, really, really good project page is the key thing, okay? That's crucial. Now, the final part of it, after doing all that preparation, you've done all the planning, you've done all the budgeting, you've got all what you need done. It's very important now that you do spend time researching and planning and creating your strategy, okay? Now, it's this part here, the checklist. This is not overnight. I'm going to be honest. It's not going to be a 2-minute quick job. We'll do this festival, that festival. It really means doing a bit of research. And the way to do that is in the following way. Obviously, we could do it all for you. That's what we do. But secondly, is to research festivals who like your kind of movie. So if you have a really, really good, strong film that could do really well on the circuit and be of those like high-end festivals, research which ones are Oscar qualifying, BAFTA qualifying, and SAFTA qualifying, if that applies, I think now. And then look at those festivals and think, right, these could be good for my film. It's going to be hard, but I'll give it a go. Also research online on a platform called Raindance. Raindance Film Festival have big directories about really good festivals. So that gives you some indication as to what kind of festivals are the ones which are the big boys that will be really hard to get into, but really good. If you've got a really good horror film, like those ones I just described, Tokolosh and the other one, then that would be a really good idea for you to research a platform called melies.org, MELIES.org, which is full of all the big boy genre film festivals. On Film Freeway, they do have chunks of festivals which are for documentary, festivals which are for horror, festivals which are up and coming. Also look online at Movie Maker's top 25 coolest festivals to give you some idea what a really good festival could be for the film. Research on Film Freeway music festivals if you've got a music film. So be really creative and look at the festival's websites and look at how well it's been done, if they've got a good following, if they're really high end, if they've got good industry, panels and discussions, if they have affiliates who are big industry people. That way it gives you more of an impression. And also look at reviews on Film Freeway, but also get reviews from your friends that might have been to some festivals too. So it does take time. It does take time. When you know what kind of film you've got, it can really help you do it quicker. So if it's a film just for genre festivals, great. Research all the top ones from the melies.org website I just mentioned, but really look in depth. As I say, it's not going to be a quick thing, but look at those right festivals. Then you can submit. So when you've got them all together, put them in a spreadsheet. I'll show you that in a minute, what I mean by a spreadsheet, and put them all together so that you can then submit and get the best chance of results. And then when you submit to festivals, wait for the results to come in and monitor your strategy. So when I say monitor, I mean look at the patterns. And the way to do that is in this way. So we just stop the share and I'll just ping it over. We can ask my questions. So I have created recently, it's about to go live, to launch and to buy on Monday, a film festival strategy spreadsheet, because I do not recommend that you keep a note of your submissions on your iPhone. That's not really going to work long term, or even keeping it just on Film Freeway will be very difficult too, because you need to really look at where you're sitting to and where it's going. So we worked on a film that was a feature from the US last year, and it starred Lawrence Fishburne's son, and it was a female director, had her heart in the right place. It wasn't a groundbreaking film that would do massive festivals at all, and they knew that, so that was a good thing. But what they didn't know was where to submit. So we did a strategy. I did say to them it needs to be smaller festivals, one's focused on mental health, one's focused on women, and independent festivals in the US that celebrate US films. And they were like, okay, we'll do that. So when it started, it didn't start very well. So I created for them my spreadsheet. So my spreadsheet, you can buy this on Monday. It's only like $5, but this I think is a really useful tool for you to just create your strategy and manage and monitor it. Okay. So I put the name of the film at the top, my little code, my cool little code. I'm going to use those colors, obviously. But I like to put in bold italics underlined. Then the film's got into a festival, really make that clear and make it stand out. You've got it. So put it bold, italics, underlined, and make it big hoo-ha. Purple means it's been submitted to the festival, waiting a response. Blue means pass. Green means we pitched it, so we've spoken to the festival, we haven't really done anything about it. And this means it needs to be submitted. So that's the general kind of code. So keep it really simple and keep the colours different and vibrant. So as you can see, when we began doing submission, it didn't get up to a very good start. I was like, oh dear, this isn't right. I thought something's got to come in soon. So my strategy is right. And I was believing myself that it was right. So we got all these passes came in, and then everything came at once. It was like an explosion. October was the busiest month I've ever had for one film. Honestly, it was like every day there was something going on. So, they all came at once and everything happened just later on in the day. And then we had more at the very, we had the last one in March with a few. So it's like a very small campaign. It wasn't a huge one, but everything was streamlined and focused to the right festivals to get the results. And eventually they came. It just happened late. We were like, well, what's going on? All of a sudden it just popped up. So by having a strategy like this, it really helps. So by putting everything in month by month view, gives you a very clear indication of what's coming up, what you submitted to, what you're waiting to hear back from, all that kind of thing. And obviously here in October, we were busy, very, very busy. And it showed what kind of festivals wanted it. It was US festivals, it was LA festivals where it was shot. It was female festivals and it was mental health festivals. So everything came at once, a bit slow to start with, but it all happened. That can happen to you too. But this helps having a strategy and a spreadsheet like this to really help you get more information and just see the patterns and helps you to monitor your strategy. Now, I've done a lot of talking, I have indeed. So I'd love now to answer all of your questions and go through everything with you so that you're really clear and you have that toolbox in your bag.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rebekah.
You're welcome.
That was a very good presentation, and you spoke a lot, of course, about why we need the reasons for submitting to festivals, right? But maybe while we wait for questions from our audience, could you please tell us about the audiences for festivals? Who are the audiences?
So the audience tend to be the following. So if the festival is heavily focused upon the film industry, what we call an industry festival, that have conferences, or they have, like now, panels, they have workshops, masterclasses, that tends to be a film industry focused audience. That will be people who are obviously producers, directors, actors. It will have people that maybe work in areas of sales distribution. They all come together to that festival to meet, collaborate, network, and find films and find new talent. That's what we call an industry festival. And these festivals tend to be, well, Durban's a good example. It has industry, obviously. The Dinard Film Festival in France is all particularly very industry focused and has lots of sales agents attend. London Film Festival in UK is all industry, like it is in Durban, a very good local strong festival just for filmmakers. The Aesthetica Short Film Festival in UK as well is full of industry. It has Film 4, it has all the big movers and shakers from the UK industry. Channel 4, Film 4 are big stations in the UK, big TV stations, big film stations, as Showtime's come in at 1.2. They're what we call industry festivals. And the other side to that is audience festivals. These are for like the locals to come and discover new films. There's less industry and less masterclasses, less markets, etc. It's predominantly showcasing these films, their local audience, for them to discover that they wouldn't see normally in a theatre. Palm Springs is a good one because that's full of an older audience, but it has a lot of industry as well. But predominantly the audience tend to be those who are retired, because it's a retired area, that like to see those kind of movies that are really strong shorts. A good one also is in UK, there's a Beaton Film Festival. All the locals love that because they all love the festival programmers, and they just showcase them really good shorts from the local Nottingham area.
Right. Thank you very much. We have a question. And by the way, can I just remind everyone, we are taking questions right now. Please, let's take advantage of Dr. Rebekah. That sounds very wrong, but let's just take advantage of this moment and ask as much questions as we can. And that being said, we've got a question, and the question reads: if your film gets into a good festival or wins a prestigious award, how do you gain traction with other film festivals you have submitted to? What works to get the film on their radar?
Great question. Okay. So say you get into a really good festival that's, as you say, that's something like an Oscar qualifying one. Here's a good example of from an festival yesterday. So one of my films I just started working on has got its world premiere at the Blickers Rhode Island Film Festival, which is an Oscar qualifying film festival. So what we did was we very quickly put on the poster the laurel, which says official selection in competition, Blickers Rhode Island. Okay. So really make a noise about it, make a big noise. So update your Film Freeway profile page that I showed you earlier with the poster with the laurel on, and then put at the top of the synopsis, official selection, Blickers Rhode Island in competition, and explain the synopsis. And if you get a publicist, I'll talk about tomorrow, that publicist has a hook to get really good press that will then start spreading the word about the film. And you'll find that when the festival publish their program and they list your film in there, other festivals look at it. we've just had a film as well, a short film got into Locarno, a very, very big film festival that takes place in Switzerland, one of the big top tier ones, actually. And since they've released their program, we've had around 15 festivals reach out to us and say, could you please send us a link to the film? Here's a fee waiver, here's a discount code, or send it to me on email. So we've heard about it at Locarno, and it might fit our program about Chinese cinema because it's a Chinese film. Okay, so make a noise about it to your publicist, but also yourself on your Film Freeway page. And also the festival will help you. And do go on social media and make noise of it. When you can announce, make noise of it. Put official selection, my film's Vickers, Rhode Island. You'll get people there taking you more seriously. Be like, oh, okay, it's obviously a quality movie. It aligns with a quality film festival. So it's got to be pretty good. So I want to see a trailer. I want to see more. Let's start a conversation. And more festivals will get interested.
All right. And then Kibare, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Kibare wants to know, how easy is it for a new entrant filmmaker to work with a consultant such as yourself?
It is simple. It is really, really simple because we work with all kinds of filmmakers. So what we do is when we start working with people, the first thing we do is watch the film and we give very clear feedback on it. And we give very honest feedback and talk about how we can help you make the most from the film and the circuit and give you more advice. So yeah, it's simple. There's no certain type of film I work with. I work with everybody at any kind of level. I work with students. I work with established filmmakers. I work with emerging filmmakers. I have corporate clients. So they all vary, but there's always room for everybody in my inner circle.
All right. So now, yesterday we had a session where, even though we talk about short films, but I think one of the things that came up during the sessions is, so you've made a film and you might not necessarily have a plan for it. And I know that you discussed why, you talked about why film festivals are important, but would you advise that you approach film festivals before, say, you approach distributors and other industry players? Like, what do you advise?
Absolutely, great question. My advice would be, there's two aspects of advice here. So for a short film, before you approach other industry players, movers and shakers, and a sales agent in the small world of short film distribution, my advice would be to do obviously festivals first, to get a profile and to get a portfolio, and have the laurels on your poster that can really present to them a really impressive film. So for example, say you wanted to get distribution for the show, you want to meet people, you have to have a hook. Say, well, we did official selection, Rhode Island, Aesthetica, Durban, all these big Oscar qualified festivals, did Holly shorts, we did LA shorts, we did really well. And then from distribution, they're going to get more into like, oh, okay, it's going to be a good film. Must be a good film because it's doing really, really, really good festivals. So we want to talk to you more, let's look at the film and have a conversation. And the same with industry player, same thing. So like a really good producer you've heard of, you want to connect with. So, my film's in these festivals, it's won this award. They're going to be like, oh, interesting, good festivals. And they're more in alignment. And then go to them afterwards. So it's always with the short, festivals first, and then distribution. Also with the feature, festivals first, and distribution. You should always do festivals first. But you might find with a feature, to get a sales agent, they might worry if it's going to be overexposed. So you come to a set and say, right, the film's done 25 festivals. They'd be like, ooh, that's quite a lot of festivals. Some might think it's overexposed. However, some might think that it's not. So everyone's different how they work. For example, thank you. So for example, with distribution, some sales agents want to come on board before you do festivals with a feature film because they want control. Whereas some will say, great, well, you do the festivals yourself, get your exposure awards, and we'll just do the selling, because they don't want to do festivals. So there's very different and very complex with a feature, but you must always do your festivals first because people can't sell it until you've got festivals. You'll find that when a sales agent takes control, is that they really want to take control of the strategy and the whole sales strategy, and they'll do the festivals they want to launch it at to help the buyers get interested and buy it. Okay, So it's very difficult with a feature. So you really got to be clear on the goals section. I said at the beginning, if you really want to get a sales agent and you're desperate to get it sold and you need the money back, then approach a sales agent first. And if they will do festivals with you, or you do it yourself. With a short, you've got free reign, you've got longer life, different kind of premiere policies, really more flexible than a feature. So it's a different world. But really know what you want is crucial.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, someone just asked, does a film have a higher chance of being selected for a festival if it is submitted via a company like yours?
Yes. So there's two services that we offer. So we do a consultancy service, one-to-one, and we do a management service. That's where we do all the work for you. So, for example, the Tokolosh, I keep using that film, but we've done other films from SA as well. We've done The Hangman for a short film. We've done Beyond the River, Kings of Mulberry Street, Canary, Simu. We did loads of films from SA. I love working with filmmakers in SA because you've got great sense of humor, but also fantastic films. So we know a lot of that world. Now, yes, it does help because if you work with me as your consultant and we create for you your entire strategy, so give you all the festivals to submit to, you'll get results because you have the right plan. You're not being too, broad and general and throwing it in left, right, and centre. What we call a scattergun approach, doing it very focused and very streamlined. If we come on board and we take over the whole project and we become the management team, like we did with the Tokolosh and we did with Mulberry Street and Barakat, then yes, because we're going to our contacts directly and lobbying to get it on top of the pile, so to speak, of submissions and getting it prioritised. So yes, we do. We'll just help a lot, really, by having the right strategy because it is overwhelming. I will be honest, there's a lot of festivals around. If you're new, it can be a bit scary. And then what we do with that checklist is give you the right path and help you on that journey.
All right. Now, Tudi wants to know, what are the costs associated with your services?
Great question. So we offer a special deal for SA filmmakers because I know the economy is different from like dollars to rand. I know it's huge. I've been to SA and I was like, wow, this is a lot different than being in London and being in the US. So the cost we charge, I'm going to write this in the chat actually, so everyone's got it. The cost for SA filmmakers to have your film festival strategy created for you and a session with me as your mentor is in pounds sterling, 498 GBP. And that's a really good package because it has everything in there. So you get your whole plan, you get your tips, you get your knowledge, and you get feedback, and you know exactly what to do and not waste money on the wrong festivals. The management package is a fixed fee for SA filmmakers. And that's a 12-month contract, so it is a lot more money, I'll be honest, because it's a long contract, it's a lot of involvement. And that is 4.8k, so it's a lot more money, obviously. It's £4,800, but that is a long contract and there's a lot more work, so it doesn't include more. But if you need to have the right plan, you need that right advice, you need me just to get you on the right path, the best one is the strategy package because it's much more affordable and you get results from it without having to hire me for 12 months. So either way we can do it. Like I say, I love SA movies. I've done a lot of work with the NFVF. Two Hughes did really well. That was from a filmmaker as well. I did really on the circuit. So that's all the right plan. And she was going to aim really high. She was aiming like Sundance. I go, let's rein it in. And let's do the right plan. She was like, okay. And she got the results. And she didn't waste money because she had not a lot of money to waste. So that's what you need right now. And with that checklist, obviously that's free. So what I'll do now is give you the link to the free checklist. So you can download it today and then absorb it because it's for you and it's a freebie. To have it in your handbag, as I keep saying the handbag thing, but maybe just the office. And it's on my shop page here, so I'll give you the link. There is other like ebooks and stuff there too, which are very, very, very cheap. But the checklist I went through today is free. And just scroll down, you can get that as well. It really is going to be a very, very useful tool. Right.
So just to, for those who can't maybe see the chat box, it's www.filmfestivaldoctor.com/shop and /. Now, let me see. I think we have another question here. Now, what happens if during the 12-month management period, a distributor wants to take over? Do you continue working with the distributor?
Yes, great question. Yes, the answer is yes. So we've got a film now that's a feature that has a sales agent, and he's been trying to get a deal, and he's finally got one. So what happens then is he secured a deal in North America, and we've got festivals in North America up until September. So the distribution company have said, great, we'll launch it after you've done Rhode Island. Again, that festival, again, a good example, it's going to do Rhode Island. We'll launch it at the end of September when it's done its festivals. What that means is we can't screen the film at any more festivals after it's been released in North America. The reason being is because festivals do not want films that have already been distributed and are already available online. With a feature film, with a short, it's a bit different. You can get away with that with a short. With a feature, you cannot. So it doesn't mean we can't do many more festivals. It just means we can't do festivals in North America. Everywhere else is fine because it's not being sold to those territories. They still want us to do festivals there to help get attraction and help get it noticed to buyers that it's doing well. So that's what they want to do. So yes, we do. It just means we have to cut off North America, which is a shame. It's a massive country with loads of festivals. But we've done all the best ones. We've done loads of them in there, like 4 really good BAFTA and Oscar qualifying festivals that really helped it get interest. Because it won an award there as well, and it helped it on the radars for the sales agent. So they want us now to get more festivals elsewhere to get it more attraction, to help get more buyers interested. So yes, we do. We just have to just adjust the strategy. You're fine with a feature. You'll always be playing around with the strategy. With a short, not so much. With a feature, you want to get sales agent, it will be a bit more of an eel-like process. So be prepared to be flexible and be prepared to just, have to change things as you go along. What I would advise as well, we'll mention it more tomorrow when I talk about PR with my colleague, but it is important. The goals drive everything. It's not like halfway through you think, oh, right, I might want to get a sales agent now. It needs to be done in the beginning because you might end up leaving it too late, or you might end, if you do it early, be on the right path. So be very, very clear why you made the film and if you want a sales agent and what you want from this experience.
All right. Now, Tuli wants to know, can a film be screened while it's licensed to a broadcaster, or should one wait until the license expires? So, as in, can the film be screened at a film festival?
It will need to be screened at a festival before it goes on television, or when the license expires. So if it expires in that territory, say South Africa, in September this year, it would already been on television. So it might be difficult to get it seen at festivals already being screened, unless the festival allows you to able to screen the film and submit after it's had its screening on television. There was a film I was going to work on that was SA, which is screened at Durban actually, that has been on television, but they allowed it to be at the festival because it had already been on TV, it finished, they want to give it more exposure. So read the T's and C's, but predominantly at bigger festivals, they wouldn't allow that. Smaller ones, yes, bigger ones, not so much. So really make sure you read the T's and C's, but the golden rule is festivals first and distribution. And to work with the role of sales distribution, work with a sales agent first before doing the submissions and know what the landscape is. It's changed a bit with COVID. Now more flexibilities and more opportunities, but everyone's different. So just speak with the right person first. But I wouldn't advise to do television first if you want to do festivals, do it after.
Yeah. And now perhaps maybe just a bit of a self-indulgent question. As someone who was kind of involved in the programming of this year's DIF, how important do you think it is to have let me call it a good Film Freeway account, as in you've got all your stills there and they are good. You've got the bio, everything is perfect. Like, how important is it to take care of that aspect if you want to get into film festivals?
It's extremely important because the more comprehensive it is and the more it shows you're a professional filmmaker that has really thought about their film and you have intact all the right assets. some festivals now, if you haven't got a poster trailer, don't really look into consideration that much, because they're like, oh, well, nothing's here. It's all scatty. It's all incomplete. It doesn't give the first impression very well. It doesn't make it look very good. We've got a film right now that's still like getting a poster and trailer made. It's taking forever. But it's different kind of people. It's a corporate company, so it takes a long time. But I was saying to people like this, I had to do separate emails saying the film favorite page isn't ready yet. It's still work to do. But here's the key things you need to know. The filmmaker will attend, because it's a celebrity filmmaker, so he'll attend, that kind of thing. I'm putting that all in the email for them to take notice. And they're like, oh, okay, fine. Because I know that. But without that contact, you've got to make that strong first impression, have the poster made, have the trailer ready, have everything ready, because it can really help. It doesn't guarantee extra swayness of selection, but it just gives a very strong professional presentation of a very high-end film. So it's very important. Have all your assets in place, and don't skim on doing a quick poster in Canva yourself. Get it done professionally.
And then again, in the last 4 minutes, I think that when you think film festivals, everyone thinks, oh, big festivals, you want to get into the big festival. And you've mentioned this in your presentation, this idea that you need to know your film.
Yeah.
And I think what I want to get at is, does that mean that maybe getting into a smaller film festival is more important for your film than getting into your, big film festival, and such as ours, DIFF, Cannes, and etc., etc. So, like, how then do you know exactly that this is the right film festival for me to get into?
Yeah, so it's a really good question, because it goes back to knowing your film and accepting its limitations, if it has many, and accepting what kind of film it is. So you might be attached to the Sundance dream, the Cannes dream, and to think, right, be realistic. These festivals get thousands and thousands of submissions. There's also things as well behind the scenes you've got to compete against too, besides the numbers. So if the film's going to be a really hard sell, don't do it. Don't submit, and don't waste the money. Instead, really home in on your niches where you can thrive. So say, for example, it's like the Sokolosh, really strong genre film. Really focus on the strong genre festivals, because you've got a chance. It's going to be hard to get in. It's not easy to that level either. So be prepared for rejection, and be prepared to get success as well with the right strategy. By doing the big, like, let's do the big ones and see what happens, the answer's going to be no. It's going to be too tough with the wrong kind of movie. So accept what you have and aim for the festivals that we get best for. It might not be your dream top tier ones, but accept the film. And these festivals can give you a lot more, because they have the right audience. They have the right type of clientele, the opportunities for you. You can get a lot more from them when you come with the right film and the right energy behind it. It's important to think about premier policies as well, because with premier policies, that means that you have to work around premieres that they have. Some people want World International. You're fine with the short. They're on strict with premier policies. The top tier festivals, Sundance, Cannes, Berlin, Locarno, Venice, they do want World International premieres. But smaller festivals, even ones that are qualifying, will not be as strict for a short. They go down to London premiere or San Jose premiere. It's a very, very different kind of premiere. Some don't have any at all. A lot of film short festivals don't really have premiere policies. So it's very important that you read those T's and C's. But with a feature, it's a little bit different. It's short, but there is flexibility. So be very prepared and take that time to research. And take that time to you must never rush in this process. It really isn't a process that you rush, a process that you take time doing.
Yeah. Well, of course, I would have loved to keep this conversation going forever and ever, but unfortunately, we've come to the end of our session. And if you have any questions, if there's any other questions that are still outstanding, I would please recommend that you go to Dr. Rebekah's website, www.filmfestivaldoctor.com, and all the information should be there.
I'll just answer 2 questions really quickly. Someone just get answered to Kabir. Sorry if that was pronounced wrong. No, so we don't cover the submission fees in our fee. That's just still costs, but we obviously make sure we work around your budget, and we don't. If you say to us, I've got $500, we'll work with $500. We come up with whatever you've got, we can make it work. And yes, update the poster every time you get a laurel. It's really important to keep that going and to show how well it's traveling. And how can you tell whether the film festival is the industry film festival? On their website, they will say who their partners are, and if they're people in the industry that are distribution companies, press, or other film councils, film commissioners. Like Film London, the UK, is a big film kind of company that produces, that has affiliated with big kind of film institutions in that country or territory or town. That's how you know. And also at the program. The program has an industry program that has workshops, master classes like DIF, for example. That's an industry film festival. Basically, it means it's full of film festival events with film industry professionals attending and giving master classes, giving presentations. Audience will not have that kind of audience festival, won't really have that. That will be a lot different. Industry one means panels, workshops, seminars, and networking events.
Right. Thank you very much for answering those questions. And thank you to everyone who tuned in today. Remember, as I mentioned before, www.filmfestivaldoctor.com. And for DIFFEST, it's DIFFEST on Twitter, and Devon Film Fest on Instagram. Dr. Rebekah, it's been a pleasure. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye. Nice to see you all. Bye.
Bye.